Hi, Tracy's Kitchen and Appalachian Adventures. I'm going to talk in this video the irony of the give and the get economy. Now, in Luke chapter 14, verse 12, Jesus said, "When you have a dinner or a supper, do not ask your friends, your brothers, or your relatives, nor your rich neighbors, lest they also invite you back and you be repaid. But when you give a feast, invite the poor, the maimed, the lame, and the blind, the handicapped, and poor people." Okay, he said, and you will be blessed. He didn't say anything about money. He didn't say anything about planting the seed. Okay, he said, and you will be blessed because they cannot repay you. Okay, for you should be paid at the resurrection of the just. Okay, in other words, if when you give a party or something, if you do something to help the poor. Now, you don't see, the one thing you don't see is on the Christian programs, you do not see poor people invited on the program. Now, you don't see anybody who's making $15,000 or $25,000 a year on that program talking about, well, the Lord supplies my needs every month. The Lord gave me a car. You don't see that. Okay, you don't see the poor people on the program. You don't see any poor people on the program. They don't want any poor people on the program. Okay, what I see on those programs are filthy rich Christians. Okay, explain all this money the Lord gave him and how they live a happily ever after life. And the Lord gave them super houses, super cars. Okay, everything. So no poor people need to apply. No poor people need to get on that program. Okay. What they want is a whole lot of rich people bragging about all the money that the Lord's given them. Okay? And the whole irony of that is that it's poor people who have made those ministries rich. It's poor people who've given up their butter and egg money, the medication money, the school supply money, because they're willing to pay for hope. But they're not invited on the program. And the whole irony, like I said, is that they're the ones who send in $75 million to these ministries, 100 million, 200 million, 300 million, probably a billion to these ministries. It's poor people, because there's more poor people than rich people. Rich people are only a small percentage of the population. There's more poor people than rich people. It's poor people who are willing to pay for hope, who's sending super money to these ministries, but they are not invited on the program. What they have is a lot of rich people on the program talking about riches, money, and wealth. Okay. No poor people on the program and how they got it and how they living happily ever after. Now, there are a lot of poor people who love Christ, worship Christ, but they're not going to get any money, right? Okay. The whole thing is, don't talk about the poor. Don't talk about the poor. Pretend that the poor don't exist. And that is totally unscriptural, because Jesus said the poor you have with you always. The poor are not going away. Jesus said you have the poor with you always. Now, how do we bring in more money where we get rich people, rich Christians, to talk about their crazy money? Don't get no poor person on there making $15,000 a year with 4 children and they living in a trailer. Don't get no poor people like that on there. Even though there are some Christians like that with 4 children living in a trailer who would tell you, God supplies their money every month. But see, that's not going to bring in more money. If you talk about money, you get money. If you talk about wealth, you get more wealth. Get some rich people, some rich Christians on there with compounds, not houses, talking about all the super money and super riches. Okay, don't talk about the poor. Don't talk about where they live. Don't talk about how they live. Don't talk about the type of houses they live in. That's not going to bring any money. You need pictures of compounds there. Super houses. That's what brings in the money. talks about poor people and traders does not bring any money. They don't want to confront the poverty because they don't want to build any houses for poor people. Even though in Genesis, the word said God gave those Egyptian women houses because they saved Moses. So there is a precedent for building houses for poor people. And since Jesus was a carpenter, there's no telling what he built, how many houses he built for poor widows. Free. But see, they don't want to build any houses for poor people. They don't want to hand out free school supplies. They don't want to deal with the homeless population. They don't want to deal with the fact that there are elderly in the street. And I mean, not only people in their 60s and 70s, but people in their 80s and 90s are on the street. Now, that's a crime against humanity. When you have people who are elderly and they're in their 80s or 90s and they are on the street, have nowhere to live. That is a crime against humanity. But look, these ministries and the church doesn't want to deal with that. They don't want to deal with that. So just have the people in the program talking about how super rich they are, the super houses, super everything. That's going to draw in more money. And that's the name of the game. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Repeat all these people. Repeat the stories about the people who got super houses, compounds, super cars, super motorcycles. Repeat, repeat, repeat. That will bring in more and more and more money. Don't discuss the poor. Don't deal with the poor. Don't build any houses for the poor. Don't send any school supplies for poor children. Don't deal with them. And like I said, the irony is that it's poor people who's made them rich. Have a nice day.